Hello everybody, this is Federico bringing you what I hope to be the first of many screencasts regarding LTAF. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Federico Silva Armas and I work in the ASP.NET QA team over at Microsoft. I was also the dev lead for LTAF. And in this first screencast, what I'll go over very quickly about what is LTAF and then I'll show you how to write a test using it. So LTAF stands for Lightweight Test Automation Framework. It is a mouthful and there is a story behind why we had to name it like that, but we will not go into it. This is very simply a UI automation framework for the web. It is not the first one, maybe not even the last one. And for those of you that are familiar with Selenium, this is a fairly similar automation framework to that one. This was developed and it's used by the ASP.NET team. And it is the tool that we use internally to test our product. We've been using it for about 4 years now, I think, and written close to 1,000 tests. It is also released in Codeplex, where you can go and download the full source, and you can change it to fit whatever needs you may have. Now, in this cast, what I'll show you next is a very simple application that I'll use to show how to write a test for a user scenario that we may have on a common site, in this case logging in. Alright, let's close PowerPoint and go over to our website here. I'll start by just showing you the website's functionality. So let me navigate to the home page. Okay, so very simple app that starts with a login screen, very common on websites. And there are many user cases that we could be verifying for. For example, if I click on the login button and I haven't typed anything, well, I expect to get this required errors. That could be one test that we may want to write. There's another case where if I type on this not a member link, the UI will transform itself to allow me to create a user. And as well, if I click on sign up and I didn't type anything, I will get required errors. No postback should occur. That might also be a user case. And however, what we're going to be testing in this particular cast is the user scenario when I try to log in with a wrong password. So for example, if I type my username but I provide a wrong password and I click on login, the expectation is that I should get this error message. Now the reason why I would like to create a regression test for this is let's say I want to quickly regress with each build that my developers or any other factor in the build has not broken this functionality that is very important for my site. So I could do it manually, but in this case I am going to write an automated test for it using LTAF. So let me go back to my website, and the first thing that I need to do to write this test is to include our assembly. So I will include the bin folder, and I will navigate to our drop and get the Microsoft Web Testing Lightweight DLL. This is included in our Codeplex drop, and you can find the address in my blog. Now, once I have this DLL, now I'm ready to start writing tests. Different to other frameworks, you can write LTAF tests directly on an ASP.NET website or web application. So I'll do that right now, and I'll create a folder inside my app code directory called automation. Obviously the name does not matter, but I want to keep things separate. I'll go ahead and add a class and I will name it login tests. Perfect. Let's get rid of this and import my namespace, Microsoft Web Testing.light. Okay, now the first thing that I want to do is tag one of my classes with a web test class attribute. That tells LTAF that this is a container of tests, very similar to MS Test or any other unit testing framework. Now I'm going to type the name of my test. I'll call it if incorrect password, can type today, is entered, verify, error message. Perfect. And I'm going to tag it with the web test method attribute, signalizing that this is in fact a test. Delete that. Now I'm ready to start writing my test. Before I do that, let me go back to the UI just to retrace the steps that the user is intended to take for us to verify. Remember that this is a functional automation framework, so you can think of it as simulating what the user will how the user will interact with our website. So the first thing that they will do is navigate to the home page, and then they will type some username and some password, and they will click this button, and they will verify that this text is outputted. You can think of as the step that we want to code. So to do that, we start by creating an HTML page. This is the entry point to most of the API of LTAF. So we instantiate one of those and immediately give it what URL we want to navigate to, in this case home.aspx. Okay, the next thing we need to do is type on the username text box. So in this case we can reference all of the elements of the page, and we need to find it. We hit a little stumbling block because, well, there's many elements on this page and it's sometimes difficult to get a hold of one. In this example, I'm going to be using IDs. So I need to figure out what is the ID on the client. I'm going to open Firebug in this case just to get the DOM here. As you can see over here, this is the ID of the text box, and the reason why it's so long is because this website is using web forms, and if you know web forms, the IDs are auto-generated by ASP.NET by concatenating all the container IDs so that they are guaranteed to be unique. This is a problem because it's long, it's hard to write, and it's fairly fragile. So LTAF has a capability of, you can just type in the last ID, which is the innermost control, which is usually the most relevant. In this case, that control is a text box named username, and we will be able to find the first one. Now once we find it, we can set the text to my username, and then we'll do the same for the password field. So I know the ID beforehand is password, and I'm gonna set the text to bad pass. Excellent. Next thing is to click on the button. Let me go and find the ID of this button. Okay, and the ID is login button. Very good IDs are being used in this page, which is very good to see. So let's find the login button, and I'm going to click on it. Now when you click in this application, we're going to actually perform a full post back to the server, and I want LTAF to wait until the new response comes back, because it's until the new response that the error message will be displayed. So I'm going to click, and then I'm going to use a very simple enum to wait for post back. Excellent. Now the response is assumed to be back, and now I want to verify that the error message is there. So I will use an assert, which is, again, should be fairly familiar with many other frameworks, and I'm going to verify that the text of this particular span is expected. So let's look for the ID of the span. So this is the span, this is the ID, it's called failure text. So page.elements.find failure text, and give me the inner text. Excellent. And what I am expecting is that the error message should be this text here. So I'm gonna copy it and paste it into the assert. Let me just, there you go. So that is the full test. Now in order to run this, we need a driver page. This, remember, different to NUnit, because we want to run this test directly inside the website. Now to do that, I need to add another folder that contains our driver page. It doesn't matter what you name it. I'm going to add a couple of items that are also part of the download, which are 2 pages. It doesn't really matter what is there. We'll probably go over it in a subsequent podcast. Sorry, I keep saying that, screencast. For now, if you navigate to the default page, you'll see now that you get a tree of tests. Hope we can see that. So, and you see our test included there. We can select it, and when I click run, just keep watch on the right hand side of this frame set, and you'll see the test being executed here. So you saw hopefully that the page navigated. Let's run it again. Page navigated, text was set, click, and the error was shown and the test passed. So this is all that I'm going to show for today. As you can see, it's very cheap and easy to add a test. In subsequent podcasts, I'll show more advanced scenarios as well as other sheets and explore the API. Thank you for listening.